You're on 702 ABC Sydney. Some interesting questions came up yesterday on Rant around insurance, and what we started to realise and start to hear from what calls were saying is that insurance these days is very precise. The risk assessment is very precise. We're going to be talking to Dallas Booth, who's Chief Executive of the National Insurance Brokers Association, and discussing some of, really, in some ways, how extraordinary insurance is, how much information they have these days in a moment or two. I had a couple of good calls yesterday about insurance, and I just thought it was a good time to perhaps take a look at insurance, how it operates today, and get some insights into how complex it is and how much information insurance, the risk assessors in the insurance industry have. You may have some further questions and comments. If you want to join us, the number is 1300 222 702. The first caller was Robin. She was talking about her car insurance.
My car insurance is due, so it was pretty high. My husband rang the insurance company to see if he could get it down any lower, and he couldn't get it down far. So he started to go online to do a bit of a comparison. And he looked at all of the insurance companies, but what is really funny is our actual address. We live at number 20 of a road. It's a cul-de-sac, and apparently cul-de-sacs attract a higher level of insurance or a higher price on insurance. But the people next door to us, in number 18, with the same company, their insurance, and they still live in the cul-de-sac, their insurance is $600 cheaper.
Wow. I mean, do you both have the same car?
No, we both have four-wheel drive. It's about the same.
Right.
And then the people on the other side of us, their insurance is $400 less than ours.
Wow.
I know. Is that bizarre or what?
And Carolyn had a similar comment about her home insurance.
We've been in the same house for over 10 years, same policy, same company. And the last time the bill came in, I thought, that premium's really a bit steep. So I rang them up, and very obliging, very friendly. Let me take you through the questions. One of them was, do you have a swimming pool? No. We've never had a swimming pool. Oh, well, that'll take a couple of $100 off for you. And the other one was, do you live near a river or something for flood? There's a lake in a park about 3 k's away that doesn't tend to flood, so no. Oh, that's another couple of $100. Thanks very much. That's nice. I've only been paying a premium way too high for the last 10 years. Right.
Well, I suppose the interesting thing about that was it might be worth giving them a call to get some of that stuff sorted out. But I thought it was both of them said to me, let's have a conversation about insurance. Let's find out a little more of the truth of it, a little more of how it works. Let's give you an opportunity perhaps to put any other questions you might have. It'll be a bit hard to go through your exact premium, but if you've got some general areas perhaps to cover, some general questions, we'd love to get you involved. 1300 222 702 is our number. Dallas Booth is the Chief Executive of the National Insurance Brokers Association and joins us this afternoon. Dallas, how are you?
Oh, well, thanks, James. Very, very good.
That's good. Thanks for giving us some time. I mean, I think this reminded me of a comment someone made to me the other day. He said if you want to see somewhere where they've really got a lot of information now and they can really bring the world down to individual houses and the amount of information that's around is really quite extraordinary. They said take a look at the insurance industry. It is the case now with the combination of modern data collection of Google and all of these sort of things. You can really start to analyse risk at a very minute level.
Look, that's the case. The insurers collect information probably from two sources. They collect the actual claims data. So you've got the experience of claims, primarily claims in your area. So obviously insurers will have very good information about what sort of claims are coming out of your suburb for your particular type of house, your particular vehicles or whatever. So claims information is really key, and that's probably the primary driver. And then the second thing is any other information which may be relevant, whether it's crime statistics for theft and burglary. But the other big driver at the moment is weather, and it's any information that a insurer can gather as to what's happening in the weather, and in particularly what's going to happen in the weather over the next 12 months or so.
So is there a little less sense of crystal ball gazing with this now? Do you feel does the insurance industry feel as though they're really getting on top of some of this information?
I was at a presentation this morning. They're looking seriously at the Bureau of Meteorology's El Nino projections for the next 2 years, so that's really important for the insurers. So that's what I mean about outside information, that there's directly relevant for what insurers are doing. The other thing which influences pricing in Australia is Australian insurance companies rely on reinsurance for the big catastrophes. That's all covered in the worldwide market, and the cost of reinsurance has really been affected by not only the claims out of Australia but New Zealand, Thailand, Japan. The last 12 months the reinsurers copped a hammering, and that's having an impact on pricing in Australia as well. So it's world events and local events and weather and all that sort of stuff.
I mean, in a sense, if we think about that, if we translate that insurance to a local level, our risk shouldn't be influenced by that, should it?
Look, in one sense it shouldn't be, but by the same token, our insurers are able to offer more higher levels of cover by having reinsurance. And that, instead of being able to insure you, for a couple of $100,000, they might be able to insure you for $500,000 or $1 million, whatever, because they can lay off some of the risk to the reinsurers. And that helps the community generally by being able to provide very high levels of cover in times of major loss.
And reinsurance is what?
Reinsurance is insurance bought by insurance companies. So, so that's really what it is.
Yeah, you're just like you're bookmakers, aren't you?
Oh, no,
you're walking around the paddock, you're laying off some bets with other bookmakers.
Well, they lay off some risk. Yeah.
But you say like if I'm in the US, they don't do this. Is that what you mean?
Oh no, it's happening worldwide now.
Right.
So in the industry worldwide, you've got local insurers, domestic insurers. Most countries will have their domestic insurers, and then all the insurance process works at two levels. You've got your domestic insurers, all the usual brands are there, and then you've got the reinsurers who provide the backup and the higher level stuff, and they really come into play. Most of the great bulk of the natural disasters last year were actually funded by reinsurers, because that's where all the claims amounts were so big, billions of dollars were funded or are being funded by the insurance industry, and a lot of that is coming from the reinsurers worldwide back into Australia.
And if we think about it, it's of perhaps all of our economic activities, insurance is the one that really wants to know exactly what's going on, isn't it? Like that is your business, to be able to assess my individual risk, the risk of an area, all of these areas. That's how you're going to make your money.
Well, insurance brokers are working very closely with small business, medium-sized business. They're out there, they've got a very first-hand view of what's happening in the economy through the activities of their clients. They're also arranging cover for individuals, and the brokers also do business for the very big companies, big infrastructure projects and that sort of thing. So they've got a very good idea of what's happening across the economy.
In the areas of financial literacy, I suppose we think about our general financial literacy, and I'm including myself in this. I think we're pretty hazy on insurance, aren't we? Like most of us just have a suspicion of it rather than any real information.
Yeah, I think there's not a very good understanding at all, and we're working with the Insurance Council of Australia to try and gauge the community's level of real understanding and where the levels of misunderstanding or lack of understanding and what we might be able to do about that. So we're working on a project with the Insurance Council at the present time, but it's really important. We're talking about risk. What are the individual risks? What's my risk for my motor car? What's the risk for my house? And that's that really important thing, because ultimately what the premium you pay is the insurer's view of the risk that they're writing.
Well, let's just look at those couple of specific instances that we had yesterday before we take a few calls from others. 1300 222 702 is the number if you'd like to join us. We're looking at some of the nitty-gritty of the insurance industry in Australia at the moment. How can you have different car insurance and a different premium of that sort of level, $600 or so in two houses next door to one another?
Driver history might be relevant, might not be, but it might be relevant. So driving, how many points you've got might be relevant. The other one, which has a direct and a very quick impact, if I've got a $500 excess or a $2,000 excess, in other words, I'm paying the first $500 of a claim, or if I pay the first $1,000 of a claim, that'll have a massive impact on the price. So just the amount of your excess will have an important difference, and these are the sort of things that people should be discussing with their insurer, or if they're not sure, getting advice. So
it's not coming down to number 16 in Woolworth Grove has a different premium than number 27.
Look, I'd be surprised if that was the case, but every risk is, pretty well every risk is unique in terms of how the person's what their profiles are and what their risks ultimately are, and it could be driving record, it could be the size of the excess, it could be some other factor.
I suppose the other thing that then came out of the other call was, Caroline, is that if you ring your insurance and have a talk about it, you may be able to bring your premiums down.
Look, We strongly believe in the community getting advice and going to the market in an open and informed manner. Now, if people are not sure how to do that, obviously we recommend go and see an insurance broker. But clearly, the advice always has been to ring around. There are, insurers do form their own views on price. And so some insurers will look at exactly the same risk and have a different view as to what the correct price is. That's valid. It's a marketplace out there, and they're all trying to work out what the best price is while still covering their own potential losses. So it's ringing around, testing the market, and if you're not sure and you're uncertain, getting advice is really key.
Dallas Booth is the Chief Executive of the National Insurance Brokers Association. We've got some general kind of questions or something. We're having to deal with specifics. We can't go through a lot of details, as I'm sure you appreciate. But if you'd like to give us a call, 1300 222 702 is our number. Theodore?
Hi, James.
What do you want to raise?
Well, I consider myself financially literate, worked in for 20 years. Here's an interesting one for your guests. And I understand about apples, oranges, comparing properly, like your next door neighbour, four-wheel drive, maybe a different model to yours.
Yep.
So I understand all that. And your guest has been talking about risk. There can't all be risk, because my wife swears that for the last few years, she can get a better price going online as a brand new customer to the same company she's currently with for her green slip, and getting a hell of a lot better price as a new customer, renewing customer.
So there's a renewing customer. So this is green slip for cars, right?
Change of driver, no change of car, planes, absolutely zero change. So apples compared to apple.
Yeah, all right, Dallas?
Look, I'd have to refer that one to the insurance company. That seems odd, but whether it's a renewal or a new price, it's an odd thing, an odd position seems to be for an insurer to take, but nothing comes to mind immediately as to some rationale.
But wouldn't there would be an interest with insurers as to get you as a new customer, wouldn't it?
Always. I mean,
so therefore they might offer that sort of incentive.
Yeah.
If you come over, It seems surprising that the registration number doesn't come up or the name doesn't come up. I think we already have you as a customer,
That's right.
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry. I'm really not sure that I can help with that one.
Yeah. Theodore, does she renew it every year? Is that what she does?
She still shops around, but she's not a silly woman, has the same financially as me. And
it just sounds like, okay, do it. Good idea.
Yeah, for your listeners, give it a go.
Give it a go. Thank you, Theodore. Nice to hear from you. Hello, Will. This is an interesting idea. What did you want to raise? Sorry. Will, you there? Yeah.
I'm here.
Oh.
Yeah, look, I own several motor vehicles and a motorbike. Why can't I just insure me? I'm the risk. Might go by my driving record, my history.
Right.
Why do I have to have a policy for every vehicle?
Yeah, that's interesting, isn't it?
Being one at a time.
Yeah, you can take out X amount of insurance to cover you should something happen in any one of these vehicles.
That's right. And then if I'm driving someone else's car, well, it's on my policy.
Yeah.
It's me. You insure me as a driver, not my vehicle.
Yeah. Dallas, would such a thing be possible?
Well, basically what you're insuring is damage to your vehicle or the theft or the loss of the vehicle, and you are basically insuring damage caused by that vehicle, whoever's driving it, to other vehicles. So the actual risk you're talking about is the risk of that particular vehicle or that property rather than your collective risks. But
I suppose his point is, if you've got several vehicles and a motorbike, you're only going to be on one of them at one time. Would you be able to take out something which perhaps took into account that you've got the three vehicles, but it basically covered you in any one of those vehicles?
A lot of insurers would offer multi-policy discounts because, there's obviously a lower administrative cost when you've already got all the records into one place. And often a lot of insurers would offer that. But it might well be a case of getting advice from a broker as to what is available in the marketplace for a collection of risks rather than just having to take individual policies.
Yeah, right. How many of us use an insurance broker?
Look, the tendency in Australia for personal insurance, which is your home and your motor and your contents and travel, the great majority of people tend to buy that themselves directly from the insurer. but we think probably around 20% of policies are still bought through a broker. And certainly our recommendation is if you are unsure, you're not clear, it's absolutely vital to get advice and make sure that you do understand the issues that you're facing.
Well, have a minute to spruik for the broker, Dallas. If I'm just doing my Subaru and the house and that's about it, do I really need to go to the broker?
Most likely, because do you understand all the various options that are available from the various markets? The insurers will have quite subtle differences in terms of what they're offering. All the policies are not necessarily the same. Now, in particular in relation to your home, we're now having a situation where a lot of insurers are offering flood cover. This is a new development in the industry right across Australia, where some insurers, you might be on the top of the hill and not worried about it, but if you've got any risk at all, some insurers will offer cover with an opt-out. Some of them are offering cover with no opt-out, and has an important issue on what the actual cover is, what the price will be, and where you will stand, and what the relationship will be. So it's really important that people know exactly what they're insured for. Does that match your risks, your circumstances, and your needs? And are you paying a fair price for that insurance? So that's really what brokers are all about: to understand your needs, understand your risks, and find a cost-effective policy which will cover you for those needs.
Dallas, thanks for your time today.
It's a pleasure, James.
Good to have your insight into these things, and thanks for your company. Dallas Booth is Chief Executive of the National Insurance Brokers Association, and thanks for those calling and putting some of those issues up. Very interesting.